Hi, my name is Beth, and you're listening to the Canna Fitness and Nutrition Podcast, where we are hanging out at the intersection of fitness, nutrition, and cannabis. Thank you so much for pressing play today. I'm super excited that you're here and you're listening because that tells me that you're also interested in fitness, nutrition, and cannabis and how to be the healthiest version of yourself. Today, we're going to talk about 6 signs that you're not going to lose weight, even though you want to, and how cannabis can help you achieve your goal. Okay. I've been a personal trainer for just over 16 years, helping people lose weight, get strong, maintain weight, all those things for years and years. So there's definitely some trends that I see, some signs, if you will, that that's not going to work. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what those are so that we can fix it, because that's what I do, right? I help you identify what's not working, where and what you want to be working towards, and then how to get there. And what I think is really cool is that if you love cannabis, cannabis is actually an ally. Cannabis is a healthy tool when used appropriately. So I'm going to share a little bit about how that works. So 6 signs that you're not going to lose weight. All right. So no matter what, if you're doing these 6 things, then it's not going to work. And I'm going to share how to change that around. Okay, so number 1, you're not going to lose weight if you're forcing yourself to do exercise that you hate, right? If you signed up for some program and it comes with a workout that you absolutely cannot stand, or if you're forcing yourself to go to the gym and you hate going to the gym and you feel intimidated and you feel like everyone's watching you and you always duck out early, whatever it is, maybe you're trying to run. A lot of people think they have to run. Like over the years, I've been like, you don't have to run. You don't have to run if you don't want to. But a lot of people are like, I'll pick up running. That seems to help people lose weight. And then they hate it, right? So they don't do it. So, one of the golden rules of fitness is to find something you enjoy doing. Because here's the truth. And I'm telling you the truth. Like literally, this is the truth. And not many people will tell you the truth. But because, social media, they want you to all just think what they think. But it doesn't matter so much what movement you're doing as long as you're moving. Okay? Let me just repeat that. It doesn't matter so much what you're doing as long as you are moving. Now, there are different types of movement. So from a cardiovascular perspective, you want to be exercising your heart, getting your blood flowing. But it doesn't matter if you're running, if you're walking, if you're swimming, if you're biking, if you're dancing. All of those things are fantastic. Just pick one you enjoy, right? From a strength perspective, strength training is important, right? But if you don't love going to the gym or you don't love taking a class, if you don't love a bar class just because your friend loves it, then don't worry about it. It doesn't mean that that's for you. It means that you just have to find what you do like. Resistance bands are incredible. That can be a lot different than dumbbells and barbells and kettlebells, right? Those are 2 very different ways to resistance train. And sometimes I've noticed that it's as simple as changing the modality, meaning if a client if you don't like dumbbells and barbells and kettlebells and that heavy, heavy stuff, using resistance bands is a game changer because it's a different feeling, even though you're still using resistance to strengthen your body, right? Body weight exercises, incredible and highly underrated. Body weight exercises, squats, sit-ups, crunches. Look at the military. That's what they do, right? They do calisthenics. We're talking old school here, but old school works. It's just providing some resistance to your body so that you can maintain and grow muscle mass. That's all it is. So whatever way that you enjoy that, then do it, right? So don't worry about following the program that your neighbor's doing or that your sister's doing or that someone on the internet said is the best exercise for blah, 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 right? Do what you like to do because then you're going to be more likely to do it. Okay. Number 2, the second sign that it's not going to work, you're not going to lose weight, even though you want to, is that you're eating by the clock and not by your stomach. What I mean by that is that you're simply following a plan, right? There's nothing wrong with plans. But if the plan doesn't include tuning into your own sensations of hunger, fullness, energy, and satisfaction, then the plan is really just arbitrary, right? And I know this is an easy trap to fall into because, there's all kinds of programs that say, there's intermittent fasting is on a clock. There's, you can do it eat every 3 hours is following a clock. Just because it's 7 a.m. doesn't mean it's breakfast time. You can have breakfast at 9, 10, 6, 4. Just because it's 12 doesn't mean it's time to eat lunch. Are you hungry for lunch? What if you get hungry at 1? What if you get hungry at 2? Right? And just because it's 5 o'clock doesn't mean it's dinner time. You can have dinner at 4:30 if you're hungry. Then you might need a snack later. But what I do in my program that's different is I help you find the pattern to your hunger, your pattern to your fullness, the pattern to your energy, and the pattern to your satisfaction so that we can create a pattern, a plan for you that works with your lifestyle, your schedule, and your own sensations, right? I'm actually kind of a good example of this because my schedule is different every day. So I don't have the opportunity to eat by the clock, actually. It would be neat. I love routine, and it would be neat to eat by the clock for sure. 8 a.m. breakfast, 12 p.m. lunch, 5 p.m. dinner, snacks here and there. So what I've had to learn, I think this has actually helped me, help you, is I've had to learn to eat and plan, strategize, and organize according to my hunger, satisfaction, fullness, and energy levels, right? So just a quick example is I used to try to wait. Sometimes I have to work late, right? Sometimes I work till 7 or 8 at night, and I used to try to wait to eat dinner until after that. And all that happened was I was really hungry at that point, and I was grumpy, and I didn't like what I was doing. And that was awful because I felt awful. I felt bad for my client that I was with because I was like resenting them because I was hungry. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, okay, Beth, let's think about that. Let's feed yourself so that you're not starving and grumpy. And then you can actually enjoy your time working, enjoy the time with my client. And then once I made that switch, it was so easy, right? I went back to having a blast with clients, and it was just a simple tweak of eating when I was hungry instead of eating by a clock. Okay, so that's my example for that. But I do see this a lot with clients. They're eating based on someone else wants them to eat, right? Either someone else wants you to eat, or it's like designated time, or just because it's 12 o'clock, it's lunchtime, but are you actually hungry at that point? That's a pattern that is going to be unique to you. Okay, so if you're not listening to your hunger, fullness, energy, and satisfaction, then that tells me that your weight loss is probably not going to stick. Because that's the true secret, is getting in touch with those feelings. Now, it is nuanced, of course, because you have partners and family members and children and other factors, but that's why what I do is personalized, because it isn't going to be the same for everybody. Okay, third sign that you're not going to lose weight, even though you want to, is that every time you slip up and give in to those chips, you give up completely. And you say, F it. You say F it, and you just go eat whatever you want for the next 3 days because you messed up once. And then you feel guilty, and you feel bad about yourself, and you wish you hadn't. And then you come crying to me, and we have to work through the whole thing, and then we have to start all over. Yes, I have seen that happen a million times. Yes, I have done that myself. God, I've been there. And so I know that it's just a cycle that repeats itself. But the cool thing is, I figured out how to break the cycle. And that's, again, one of the things that I like to work with you on, is how to break that cycle, because the one slip up where you had some chips, is not the end of the world, right? We learn what's called self-compassion and self-trust. So we build those components as part of your program for the capacity for you to have compassion for yourself and understand that having a few chips once in a while is not going to ruin your progress. What ruins your progress is giving up completely for the next 3 days and then having to start all over, right? Because then you spend more days off than you are on. And in my program, there really is no offer on. Because we learn how to get away from that mentality, the all or nothing mentality, right? It's either you're totally on or you're totally off. And all or nothing mentality is super common, especially if you tend to be a high achieving person. But it doesn't have to apply to your health, right? There's so many nuances in there, and there's so much wiggle room and things. There's so much more than you know. So that's one of the things that we work on. And once you learn that, then you can actually be more consistent. And then when you're more consistent, you will actually lose weight, right? Because you'll learn to say, oh, you know what? I did have some chips because I didn't eat enough for lunch, so I got into the chips later. But you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to have more for lunch, and that's going to fix that problem, and then it won't happen again. But you're not going to beat yourself up over having those chips. That's not the end of the world, right? That's self-compassion. So that's the big sign to me. Once you learn that and you're able to just get up the next day and move forward with your intentions, then you're on the way to lose weight. Number four sign that you're not going to lose weight, even though you want to, is that you're not sleeping. I've had so many clients over the years not sleep well. And you know what? They don't lose weight until they fix the sleep, right? So, and that's one of the reasons I realized that cannabis was really helping my clients and I, because those of us that use cannabis are sleeping fantastic. And then when you sleep fantastic, you wake up and you have energy to go to your workout. You have fewer cravings. You just feel better, right? You're energized, you're rejuvenated, you're rested, you're recovered. Your muscles have to recover after you work out. And if you're not sleeping, then you're going to wake up so sore. You're going to wake up sore. You're not going to want to move. You have no energy. So if you're not sleeping well, you're probably not working out, you're not feeling good, you're plagued with cravings, that's for sure. Because if your body's desperate for energy, it's going to start giving you signals to eat more sugar and carbs, right? To give you that quick energy. The brain's tricky like that. It knows for sure that a bag of M&Ms is going to give you a little burst, right? So it's going to tell you that you want that bag of M&Ms for a little burst of energy. Even though you may not consciously recognize that, that's what's going on subconsciously. Your brain's going, give us energy. So that's what's happening. And I have seen that so many times. So now at Cannafit, what we do is we use cannabis as a tool for some of these easy to overcome obstacles like sleep, right? So cannabis, as you may or may not know, is incredible for sleep. There's a little nuance to it. THC is best for helping you fall asleep. CBD is best for helping you stay asleep. And CBN really does both, right? CBN is a newer cannabinoid, meaning this research is really new, right, with cannabinoids, but it means that they recently discovered how powerful it can be. And it does take a while for the research to come through because there's no federal funding, sadly. But there is great research coming out of other countries like Israel and Canada. So we're finding out that CBN really helps with both fall asleep, stay asleep. That's why if you're shopping for cannabis online or if you're in the dispensary, you're going to see a lot of products marketed to sleep that have CBN in it. Right? So I would actually recommend you look for a product that has CBN in it. Some products will have THC and CBD. In fact, most of them will if it's not CBN, because they know, the manufacturers know, that THC helps you fall asleep and CBD helps you stay asleep. Also because of that, if you have trouble falling asleep, but you can stay asleep, then you want to look into a little bit of THC, and it only takes a small amount to work, really, really small amount. You can microdose that. If you're falling asleep easily, but you're having trouble staying asleep, then look at CBD, because that's going to help you get into a deeper sleep and stay asleep longer. CBD is the non-psychoactive part of cannabis, so there's actually no risk. You won't feel any altered state. You won't feel much of anything except you'll stay asleep. But again, you can also look for that CBN in products. So one of my favorite things to do is to help you find products. So I'm always up for, if you want to do a little search at your local dispensary or online, I love helping people find good products because there's a lot to know, and I've been learning this and experimenting for years at this point. So I'm qualified, and with my certification, qualified to help you do that. So not sleeping. If you're not sleeping, you're not going to lose weight. Number five sign that you're not going to lose weight, even though you want to, is that you won't give up your alcohol. Usually what I hear in this scenario is, oh, it's not that much. I don't drink that much. And you know what? For some people, that's true, right? You drink once a month, like not a big deal, right? Maybe you go to book club once a month and you have a glass of wine, like no big deal. And that's true. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it if it's once a month or less. If it's more than once a month, then it's something to look at. It's something to look at. How bad do you really need this? How much do you really need it? And how much of it are you drinking just because you want to unwind? How much are you drinking just because everyone else is, right? How much are you drinking, for whatever reason? What is the reason? Why are you drinking multiple times a month or multiple times a week? And depending on your answer is where we can find you an alternative. So if you enjoy the buzz and the unwinding and the socializing, well, good news, cannabis drinks are the hot thing, right? It is finally cool to have a cannabis drink at a party. It's cool to be drinking cannabis. It's cool to try these new adaptogen drinks. They're good for your body. You're putting in good quality ingredients and natural substances. The reason why alcohol is so bad for weight loss is because alcohol acts as a poison in your body. And well, first of all, let's talk about calories. Alcohol has a lot of calories, right? That's just one factor. The more important factor is that because your body perceives alcohol as a poison, as soon as you drink it, your body takes all of its resources and it dedicates all of its resources to trying to get rid of the poison, which is why you feel crappy when you drink alcohol, is because you get a headache, you get stomach upset, right? A lot of people get sick. You start to feel not good. So that's because your body, again, is interpreting it as a poison and spending all of its resources to get rid of it and to get it out of your system. Well, guess what your body's not doing? If your body is taking all of its energy and resources to try to get rid of this alcohol, guess what it's not doing? Yeah, it's not metabolizing your food properly. So if your body's trying to get rid of alcohol and you're eating food, your body's going to just store that food for later, right? So, and that includes anything you've eaten around that time too. So, I don't want you to say, oh, well, I just won't eat when I drink, because that's also a bad idea. But it's not going to metabolize the food that was already there, right? Because it just basically just ruins your metabolism because it's so busy. So that is a reason, if you're not willing to give up your alcohol or at least cut back to like once a month, then you're not going to lose weight. You're just not. It's just too hard on your body. The sixth sign that you're not going to lose weight, even though you want to, is because you think that the cannabis you love is making you a lazy stoner and you're destined to the munchies. Here's the truth. The truth is cannabis does not make you a lazy stoner. All cannabis is not the same. All cannabis does not give you the munchies, right? So if you love cannabis, what I do in CannaFit when I work with you is we figure out what you love about cannabis. How does it make you feel? Okay, what kind are you using? Let's look at that. And let's optimize the type that you're using to get the result that you want, right? Do you like the relaxation or do you like the energizing? I find a lot more people than I thought really like the energetic component. They really like the let's get high and clean the house, right? Or let's get high and watch a movie. Let's get high and be creative. Let's go paint something. Let's do a paint and smoke, kind of thing. Let's have fun with it. And those types, the energizing types, are less likely to give you the munchies. You may be getting the munchies just because you think that's what happens. Only certain terpenes stimulate your appetite. So on the contrary, if you are suffering with a loss of appetite from maybe a chemotherapy treatment or another illness, then we want to make sure that you're using the type of cannabis that will stimulate your appetite because they don't all do that. So it's really important that you're using the correct type. And that is, again, where I can provide some value at CannaFit is that I know the terpenes and I teach you the terpenes and how to understand which terpenes do what and how to select your cannabis based on the terpenes. So those are my 6 signs. Those are some reasons that cannabis can help. And if you turn those around, if you feel like you are doing one of those, making a mistake by doing one or more of those, then let's turn it around. Send me a message and let's see what we can do to help you. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. If you're interested in that, we can definitely talk about it. Or if you just like some quick help with picking out something or information on drinks, whatever it is, just shoot me a message. I'm Beth at CannafitnessNutrition.com, and I do hang out on Instagram mostly. It's Beth_CannafitnessNutrition. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time.